Good morning and welcome to another episode of Monkman Talks. I was in conversation last night and I was asked to evaluate an idea. And I wrote this out, so I'm just going to read from it and make it easy for y'all so y'all don't have to read it. You can watch and listen. But last night you asked me to evaluate your idea and explain why I'm so confident I'm right and you're not as right. And by virtue of right or wrong, you are wrong. We've talked in circles about such differences in perspective and understanding before without much realignment, so agreeing today still appears out of reach. The idea that taking over Venezuela is similar in function to the ICE officer's justification for shooting Mrs. Good. The concept that there is an imminent and deliberate threat coming your way and you need to take action to neutralize the threat before it becomes a greater and ultimately an existential threat. If you believe both actions were necessary, then justification was deduced in similar fashion. It differs from my deduction because I prefer to think long and hard. In your idea of acting, maybe even using force, do you think you need to act or use force? Or do you believe you need to use force? Do you think you need to protect your hemisphere, or do you believe you need to protect your hemisphere? People can believe that human sacrifice will appease the gods and provide them with plentiful crops, but they cannot think it. People can believe that the earth is the center of the universe, but they cannot think it. In a more recent example we discussed, they can believe eating pork will doom their soul, but they cannot think it. Identify the nature of what compels your actions to understand how you maintain control, or how to maintain control. A belief does not require the problem-solving process known as critical thinking, but thinking does. A belief is something you hold true, and so you generally do not use your time and energy thinking any more about it. Ask, why do you believe this? The answer is almost always short and sweet and self-satisfying while being marginally agreeable to the whole. Ask, why do you think this? The answer should be composed of verifiable and consistently accurate facts and wholly satisfying. In thinking, you would not include a belief as a fact. In thinking, you would reject any retarded falsehood you discovered. In thinking, you would be compelled to explain every belief with fact in order to justify your beliefs and include them in your critical thinking process. If you include unverified and untested ideas into your critical thinking process, then you are more likely to move in a delusional manner and direction. Before you give the order, are you ordering it because you believe it needs to be done or because you think it needs to be done? Please only order me to do what you think has to be done because I'm relying on your critical thinking process to be correct. Ordering it because you want it to be done is an entirely different and usually more destructive in nature. Be careful what you wish for is a classic example of how what you want often ends up being different than your intended outcome. Historically, we only take orders from our wisest and most experienced chiefs, and our chiefs spend a lot of time thinking about what needs to be done. The nature of these three gears, I want, I believe, I think, technically approaching perspectives, will move your acted intentions differently, and the end results will not be the same. You can want things to be as you believe they should be, but even the results of repeating this process will be lacking compared to believing you should always do what you think. Believing you should get what you want is the most extreme combination, often leading to massive failures. Leaders who believe it is our job to do what they want are the worst. If you want to efficiently and effectively take control, you better really think about it. The busier our lives are, and the more confusing things get, the more you begin to rely on belief to make decisions. When you reach critical confusion and things are not moving as you believe they should, the more likely you are to stomp your feet and demand what you want. Thinking is the most tedious and time-consuming option, but it will give you the best and most consistent results. I've taken a different path to gain perspective, but now I can better explain what I think and why to anyone who may not understand. I think it's near impossible for me to help everyone find understanding one debate at a time, so I thought about how to be more efficient. I've developed a repeatable scientific process people can learn and practice to help them identify and expel delusions on their own so that what remains are better choices. Thankfully, it's not necessary for anyone to take the path I took or practice my methods if they believe that Jesus Christ and his teachings are the answer. I've thought about it and determined that Jesus figured it out way before me, and he taught us every lesson we need to make the perfect decision every time. In short, you do not need to think if you believe that Jesus has all the answers and you learn his way. All you need to do is learn what Jesus said and conduct yourself as he says is required. Hallelujah. Now, no one has to waste time thinking, nor do they have to miss the target when they pursue what they want. Following Jesus saves you from having to make mistakes on your own, and it saves you from having to learn why things don't work out as you expected they would. And that's the conclusion of why I understand myself to be right and the process that I use to confirm it before I act. Thank you very much.